We're going to go ahead and get started with what's your name, how old are you, and where are you from?
My name is Morgan Bluestein. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri, and I'm 16 years old.
16. Perfect. So nice young Elvis fan. So how did you become an Elvis fan?
I've pretty much always been an Elvis fan because my dad is a huge Elvis fan, so it just automatically was passed down. Um, but I would say it really started because he would always play Elvis radio on Sirius XM, so I'd always hear it, and I'm like, what is this music like? This is not like what I'm hearing in my mom's car. So I was like, this is amazing. So it was just from hearing the music so much, I just got into it. And then, then we watched the movies, and it was from there, it was just the progression of let me learn everything I can about Elvis.
Being a young Elvis fan, what is that like? What's that like being in school and, being like into somebody that's been gone for 50 years?
You're not the most popular kid. It's not the, it's a lot of people my age. Now, before the Elvis movie, the 2022 movie, it was really everyone was like, "Why do you like this guy? Like, this isn't like nobody listens to him." I'm like, "Well, I do, and I like him." And they're like, "No." I'm like, Okay, well, I do." So it was always just like, I just won't say anything about Elvis to you guys because you don't understand it. But then after the Elvis movie, a lot more people learned about him, and kind of more people my age kind of understood like, oh, this is why he likes him. So it hasn't been as like different. It isn't like so different now as it was before, where everyone was like, I don't understand why you like this before, and now it's kind of like, okay, I get why you like it, but like it's still not very cool.
So it didn't convert a lot of people, but it did help them understand why you would be.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Well, we hope it would get more fans, but we love the appreciation of Elvis too, though.
right.
So, you were telling me that you participated in an Elvis tribute artist showcase in Branson when you were 10. So, can you tell me a little bit about that?
I did. So I was in fifth grade, and I had like loved Elvis tribute shows and loved going, and I had searched up like Elvis tribute shows near me, and I had seen like the website for the one in Branson, and so I was looking at it, and I was like, it said Elvis Youth Tribute Artist Showcase, and I was looking at it, it was like, send an email if you want to, apply to be in it. And I was like, I might as well. Like, I'm sure I'm not going to get a response, but I might as well. So I sent an email, and I would say 3 months later, I got a response, and I was like, this is wild. So I showed my parents. I was like, I want to do this. And they were like, my parents have always been very supportive of everything I've done, so they were like, okay, sure, let's make it happen. So did singing lessons for a while and kind of got ready, and I had I'm trying to think of what it was called. Oh, it was BTK made the Elvis, his rehearsal shirt from Elvis That's the Way It Is.
Oh, the red one?
And yeah, the red one.
Okay.
And so I had that, and we got to Branson, and it was just so like surreal. Like I like could not believe that I was there. And then when I was on the stage, like a year prior, I had seen the Legends in Concert show there, and I was like, now I'm performing on the same stage. It was like completely crazy that I was from 1 year. It was just a wild jump, and there were so many like younger kids that were doing it, and it was cool to see other people that were my age or younger that liked Elvis, because before that it had always been people that were older that I had known that liked Elvis. So I was really like, this is crazy. And then I was like, man, I really hope I don't go first. And they're like, okay, so we're gonna do it through whatever your last name is. And my last name starts with a B.
Yeah.
So automatically they were like, okay, so you're first. And I'm like, no, I don't want to go first. And they're like, well, you don't got a choice. I was like, all right, well, let's do it, I guess. And they were like, okay, cool. And then I kind of like, I got to like right behind the curtain to go out, and they were like, all right, go out. And I'm like, I don't know. And they were like, you're already here, so you might as well. I was like, yeah, I guess so. But everyone in the audience like were cheering, and it was. I mean, the love for Elvis. I mean, nobody was like, oh, this kid that's up here. They're like, they really were like, this is awesome that a kid likes it, and all these kids want to do it, and they love Elvis, and it's like it was so. I mean, it was. I did the Mystery Train and Tiger Man,
Yes.
and then Poke Salad Annie, and it just felt like so quick, and then it was over, and I was like, that's it. I was like, that's wild. So then, like after like all the kids were out in the lobby, and like people were coming up and taking pictures, and like I was like, this is crazy that people liked that I did this. Like I didn't think anyone was gonna care or even like it.
So how would your life be different without Elvis in it?
I would not be who I am today, for
Mhm.
sure. Um, and I think I would probably be a lot sadder because whenever I am sad, I can listen to an Elvis song or watch an Elvis movie and I feel better. So I feel like without that, it's like, oh, well now I'm sad.
Mhm.
So I think I'm gonna sneeze. I'm so sorry.
That's all right. Bless you.
Thank you. So I think that's probably it would be I wouldn't be who I am today, and that I'd be probably a very sad person without him because he kind of brings joy to a lot of people, and especially to me. And I think that's what he wanted to do, was make people happy as much as he could.
Yeah. So have you been able to find like I know you haven't been able to find like friends in at school or anything that are Elvis fans, but have you been able to find an online community of people?
Yeah, I mean, especially since the Elvis movie, there's so many more people have gotten into Elvis, and it's like there's so many more people out there. Like, I'll scroll through TikTok, and it'll be like 10 videos in. Oh, it's this Elvis video. Let me watch that, and it's so like, oh, I didn't know that. Like, it's different people and getting to hear stuff they learned and different things like that. It's so interesting and seeing different perspectives. And especially now, like, it's so many younger people. Like, I remember going to Elvis Week and it being like people my dad's age and older, and it was like not seeing as many young people. And people be like, come up to me, oh, you like Elvis? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, I haven't met a young Elvis fan. I'm like, yeah, that's really sad. I'm like, and my dad would be like, he'd be like, I don't know. He's like, you know, in 20 years, I really hope, Elvis Week is still going. I was like, I think it will be. And then the Elvis movie happened, and it's like, just like I said, they added, more sticks to that fire, and now it's burning brighter than it ever was, I think. So I definitely have found a community online to, talk about the Elvis stuff I like. And, when I get a new Elvis item in, I can say, like, oh, look at this I got. And everyone's like, oh, that's awesome. Where'd you get that? For Christmas, I got my dad a signed Austin Butler
Oh,
Elvis
wow.
Funko Pop.
I love that it's in your room.
Right. Yeah. So,
That's awesome.
yeah, it's always cool getting new stuff and showing people.
Yeah.
So I think I found a good community online. And before that, I've always had my dad to, talk to about different Elvis stuff.
Yeah. And speaking of your dad, I'm assuming it was him who gave you your middle name.
Yes. Yes, it was. Specifically spelled with one A. So anytime someone's like, "Oh, what's your middle name?" and I'm like, "Aaron," and they're like, "Okay, two A's." I'm like, "No, one." And they're like, "Why? That's not how you spell it." I'm like, "Yeah, I know." And like I'll try and explain it, and they're like, "That's dumb." I'm like, "Well, maybe to you, but my
Yeah.
dad liked it."
Yeah.
And I was like, on his grave it's two A's, right? He goes, "Elvis didn't like it that way." I was like, "Well, I mean, yeah, but," he's like, "No." I'm like, "Okay, you made it that." So,
This is what it is. This is what it is.
and
So
that's
what do you think is the most important thing that non-Elvis fans should know about Elvis?
that. Without Elvis, music would not be anywhere close to what it is today. I
Mhm.
think a lot of people don't understand that. They just think, oh, it's another artist. But, in the time that in the 50s, it was like he really brought, I mean, then it was, rock music was, he really brought that to like, I mean, it wasn't like okay, because, you still had people saying like, oh, this is the devil's music, but it, he made more people listen to it. And I think, every genre of music, he kind of covered a lot of genres. And I think without him, music would be nowhere close to what it is today. There wouldn't be, you know, you wouldn't have your Justin Bieber and, all of them. It wouldn't be what it is today.
Yeah, totally agree. So my last question for you then is what does being an Elvis fan mean to you today?
I wrote this one down because it was very important to me.
Yeah.
Okay, so to me, it's about being a part of such a large community that all just love this one guy, and but each for their specific reasons, whether that be the way he dressed, his music, his movies, whatever it is. Like everyone loves that one guy,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
for the different reasons, I think.
Yeah, I read something last night. I'm reading Sam Phillips, a book about Sam Phillips, which is huge. It's like 800 pages. And he said about Elvis, like when Elvis died, he said that like there were like no person has had like an influence on a single person more than Elvis, on like individual people. Like kings and queens, they do it over the masses, but Elvis influenced individual people on a level that has never been seen before. So, like, each person has their own experience with Elvis,
Right?
basically.
Yeah,
Like, that makes total sense to me. I would absolutely say that because everyone's experience is so individual, Like, he
yeah.
helped.
But in it, it's like, and it's all for this. It's not like, oh, it's this band. Like, oh, you like this one member of a band. It's this one guy that everyone likes for specific reasons, and it's like it's so like I love getting to hear like why other people like him and like the reason that they got into it. That's I love the Elvis fan stories because like I get to hear why other people like him and how they got into it, and it's so amazing to hear stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. Morgan, thank you so much for talking to me today. You are the future of Elvis fandom, so you have a responsibility to carry it forward, and I think it's in good hands. So thank you so much.